This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
What's going on, Detroit sports fans? Welcome back to the Fan Reporter Show, made by fans for fans, powered by the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. I'm Nick, and my boy Andrew's sitting right across from me, well rested from the long weekend, and he's going to start off with this week's topics.
Oh yeah, well rested and well fed. It's been reported that an announcement on Hard Knocks is imminent, with many reporters, including Field Yates, speculating that there will be an announcement shortly after the taping of this episode. The Lions are one of 5 teams that are eligible to opt out if chosen, but is that something you, as a Lions fan, want to see happen? We also expanded the discussion in the NBA and discussed what NBA teams could be a good fit for the HBO series, if that was a thing.
All right, so I first and foremost want to say Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there, especially our military personnel, our first responders, everybody like that. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance to those we have lost, fighting for our rights and freedoms over here in this country we call the United States of America. So we definitely remember them and give thanks to them for giving the ultimate sacrifice so that we can continue to live our lives the way that we do each day. So without further ado, though, Andrew, how was your weekend?
It was a very good weekend, really busy weekend, really tiring weekend. But I didn't go to movement, so there's that. I can't complain it was too tiring if I didn't go to movement.
They keep that going late.
Yeah.
Like way later than I thought they were allowed to. I did not go to movement either. Yeah. I did still have a very solid weekend. Friday I played 9 holes of golf. Then Saturday what did I do Saturday? Hung out with you guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Hung out with you and our buddy Alex, and we went to some breweries. And enjoyed
Witch's Head in South Lyon, visited Drafting Table in Wixom.
Yes, it was a good time. I love both those breweries. They make some fantastic beer.
Yeah.
And then went and had a bonfire at my brother's house, and then woke up early in the morning, played 18. So I got a couple of rounds of golf in this weekend.
You had your own mini golf outing this week.
A little bit. I played 27 holes. I'm not going to complain. And then hung out with you guys the rest of Sunday. And then Monday, I literally didn't do anything until later on. I went to Kalamazoo for a couple of hours, hang out with some family, some of the fam bam. And
that's where your barbecue was, on Kalamazoo?
We didn't really have a barbecue, so to speak. I mean, I guess we kind of did. It wasn't a very big thing. It was just a few of us. But it was a good time. It was a good time. Drove home, came home, literally just like passed out. Woke up after a couple of hours, made myself some more food, and went back to bed.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed your weekend as well. But let's go ahead and get into the topics for today.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks.
Yep.
Announcement coming.
Yep.
Very, very soon.
Corner 2 from Field Yates. A Hard Knocks announcement is due soon, and a reminder of the 5 teams that are ineligible to say no. You have the 49ers, Giants, Lions, Raiders, Redskins.
Do you want this?
Part of me, just for entertainment value, would like to see the Lions on there, but also there's the other part of me, the actual Lions fan, that wants to see the Lions win, and there's no question about the distraction that Hard Knocks is.
Well, the Browns figured it out last year.
Well, they still didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, but you're asking them to make the playoffs coming off of with a coaching change midseason with a rookie quarter. Let's be honest here. The reason they didn't make the playoffs was not because of Hard Knocks. It was very, very much so because of the idiot for a head coach they had, and then as soon as they replaced him, started winning some ball games. Let's be honest here.
That's very true.
It was not because of the distraction from Hard Knocks.
Yeah, but you can't say they found a way to win.
If anything. You can. I mean, they found a way to win after they fired the idiot for a head coach. I mean, they were a winning team after that, if I recall. If anything, I would probably applaud Hard Knocks for opening the ownership and front office's eyes to the ineptitude that was in their coaching staff, because there were moments on Hard Knocks last year where, God, I don't even remember the guy's name, their coach last year.
Who, the Browns?
Yes.
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson. Where Hugh Jackson there were just moments where Hugh Jackson was there and he just literally looked like he had no idea what he was doing. The things
moments?
he was saying. Yes, he had moments several moments where you literally went, excuse me?
Stretches of moments.
What did he say? Because it was just glaring how inept he was as a head coach, and you can argue that Hard Knocks kind of opened the front office's eyes to that, because it opened the world's eyes into how bad it really was. You know, I'm going to say that at first, when they were starting to rumor, when the rumor mills were going around on which teams were potentially in the discussion to be on Hard Knocks, I wanted the Lions to stay as far away from this as possible. I wanted them to deflect every possible conversation away. I wanted them to promote other teams to get it, which they did. I didn't want this coming near Lions camp. New offensive coordinator, second year of a head coach, big signings in the offseason that you have to implement into your system. I wanted nothing to do with it. I've kind of come around a little bit.
Really?
Yes. I still don't want it, but part of me would be like, I'll get some entertainment value. Mm-hmm. I'll get to see an up-close and personal look on the changes having been made. Mm-hmm. I'll get to see the ins and outs of how this organization works. I'll get to see whether or not truly this organization is just inept from the top down, because it'll actually open some of the fans' eyes, maybe, if that is the case. And you might see some changes, some top-down changes because of that. I have reasons to want this to happen, and I have reasons to not want it to happen. I still lean towards no thank you, but part of me would still kind of like to see it, if not for anything but entertainment purposes. It'll at least give me something. Like, I may actually be likely to watch Hard Knocks, whereas in years past I wasn't, because it's my team. It's my team showcasing itself. It's my team essentially being stripped naked and stared at on a weekly basis in their training camp.
But my question is, would the Lions, would they even be entertaining on Hard Knocks? Because you had Hard Knocks used to focus on the rookies, the fringe players. I know Matt Patricia will probably be pretty entertaining.
I was going to say, coming into camp last year, the common consensus from the media was this guy cusses like a sailor, yells at everybody nonstop, and makes them run a ton, including the vets, which I'll tell you right now, seeing that probably would be great TV.
But from a player perspective, our guys are pretty reserved. Compared to the Schwartz years, that would have been the year to have.
I mean, there's been no question that Bob Quinn has brought in character guys, and that started with the Jim Caldwell era, and that's continued with the Matt Patricia era. They've had a few.
Slay might be entertaining.
Slay probably would be entertaining if we can understand him half the time. I mean, certain guys would be entertaining, certain guys would not.
Vlenny would take the "What Did Slay Say" segment nationwide at that point.
I do think there'd be entertainment value, especially for the hometown fans. Unless we were completely embarrassed on national TV, then it would be entertainment value for everybody else, and not us. Kind of like the Browns last year. There was great entertainment in that one, and they were kind of boring outside of Baker Mayfield also, and Hugh Jackson just being completely awful at his job. But I do think there'd be some entertainment value here. I think there's some good personalities on the team. Granted, TJ Lang's no longer there. He would have been a nice personality to see on TV. I mean, he's just a funny dude and a really likable guy. But he's no longer there. But there are some guys that'll have some personality in the field, and there's always some ruckus going on in the camp where there's back and forth battles, and there are some position battles that may make for some interesting situations as well. We've got the backup running back position is going to be interesting to look at. Whether the third down back position is going to be interesting to look at. The backup quarterback's becoming interesting. They still don't know who's going to play opposite of Darius Slay, so you're going to be able to see maybe who's going to emerge out of that.
There could be some interesting position
There's going to be some interesting position battles, but
the rookies, for example, I don't think we have any flashy rookies. I mean, do you consider T.J. Hawkinson a flashy rookie?
I mean, I actually do. I would consider T.J. Hawkinson for what he is in the love affair that this league has with tight ends and his skill set. I would argue that he's kind of a flashy player, and watching his development through camp is going to be kind of important just to see what he can do. I mean, I want to see what the guy's got.
Yeah.
I want to see what's in his bag of tricks.
Yeah, he spent an eighth overall pick on him, of course. You want to see what he's got.
Absolutely. So I think he'd be the interesting one. And Jelani Tavai might be interesting because I've seen they've really tried to promote him out of camp. Just through social media, they've really tried to promote him out of camp. So I think he would be interesting as well to pay attention to. But you're right. The Lions don't have the OBJ type personalities, the guys that are loud and always seem to find a way to locate the camera.
Yeah,
They always seem to find a way whether or not they're on the field. I mean, the guy was proposing to kicking nets a couple of years ago while he was on the sideline after physically assaulting them. I mean, he always finds a way to find a camera and has a very loud personality that is very entertaining. The Lions don't have that. I mean, our quarterback says all of 7 words in an hour-long interview.
You know, it could be an interesting segment on Hard Knocks. A shot-for-shot battle between Matthew Stafford invites Aaron Rodgers over, and they go shot for shot.
How
about just a chugging contest?
Well, Aaron Rodgers likes scotch, so let's go. Let's
So
stick with the beer.
chugging contest.
Yeah, let's go with a beer a keg stand competition. Let's do that. Let's have a keg stand competition. Or a beer bong competition between Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, because Stafford very clearly called Aaron Rodgers out, the discount double check out, and I'd like to see old Rodgers' response there.
I mean, on the other hand, like, come on, Aaron, like, you can do better. Like,
can he though? I don't know,
like,
man.
he
couldn't even finish
he had like
it.
half a beer in his cup, and
he couldn't even finish
and
it.
you're not going to convince me that was like some heavy IPA or something. That was
Oh, it was
probably
like
just
a Bud Light. It was like a Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, whatever he drinks up there in Wisconsin. I mean, it was simple stuff. You saw Bakhtiari just slam him down, which, by the way, is he not one of the more entertaining offensive linemen in the league?
I'd like to see him and TJ Lang go. Go
yes.
to the contest.
You know, there is something about
got taken down by Hopkins,
there is something about like offensive linemen, defensive linemen, just big dudes in the way that they can drink beer, because they can just pound like 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and they're perfectly fine.
Yeah,
and they'll pound them consecutively. They're huge men.
I think they're used to, because they mount it to eat to maintain that size. Like,
yeah.
I think they're just used to just consuming a lot. So
that's what she said.
I had to take it there.
Yes, I did. But no, I was very entertained by Bakhtiari just straight up showing up as quarterback, and then and of course the Bucks owner's daughter sitting right next to him with a Pusha T-shirt on, and then Drake responds by making her his Instagram avatar. I thought that was pretty funny.
So, real quick, back to the Lions here. So you said you had your reservations about it, but if you don't think it was that Hard Knocks is a distraction in the offseason, what was the main cause of your reservation? Is it the entertainment value?
It's a little bit. I think there is a certain level of distraction. Mm-hmm. I don't get me wrong. I don't think when I said I don't think HBO Hard Knocks.
What is HBO?
I know it's HBO's Hard Knocks, but when I said I don't think Hard Knocks was the reason the Browns didn't make the playoffs last year, it doesn't mean that there wasn't at least some element of a distraction there. I think there was, and I think it's an inherent thing when you have Hard Knocks in your camp. But I think there were so many other glaring issues with the Browns. That was the reason that they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, Hugh Jackson literally just tanked that organization.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. How he held that job for as long as he did is beyond me.
He had to have he either had to have been sleeping with someone's mama, had some dirt on somebody, something. Oh, he knew something about somebody, or he videotaped someone screwing somebody's wife. He had to have happened. Because there's no other way that's feasible to have kept him in that inside that locker room as long as they did. But
so I'll be honest, I can't, like, from the people I've talked to, I can't really get a gauge on just the general Lions. And I kind of want to put this up on our Twitter after the show. Just as far, I'm curious what Lions fans think about this. Do they want this to happen or not? Because I can't get a general. Not
from
even
what I've seen, just kind of every now and then it gets mentioned on Twitter. From what I've seen, the majority of people, and I'd say probably a 60 to 65% majority, so not a huge, overwhelming majority, but a solid majority of people don't want it, and for good reason. I mean, I'm kind of in that same camp. I don't want it because, not only do I think it's a distraction, but I'd also be a little bit scared as a Lions fan to have my team get exposed. The Browns last year, in terms of their total ineptitude, got exposed and became the laughing stock of the offseason for, some time.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. It was, it wasn't a good situation for them when the ineptitude came to the forefront and they were all over ESPN, all over Bleacher Report, all over Twitter. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a good situation for them, and I'm a little worried that would happen to the Lions. Do I think that the Lions are as bad as the Browns were last year? No, I don't. I think that they have some solid heads up top. I think they have some solid heads in the locker room. Do I think they have some bad seeds there, some bad mindsets? Yes, I do. I think every organization does. Yeah. I think there's a certain level of disorganization and screw-ups all over the place in every single team, in every single locker room. But I'd be scared to see some of those personalities come to the forefront and make a laughingstock out of the Lions because, let's be honest, it's not like we're the class of the league. It's not like we're known as being this outstanding, successful organization for a long time. We don't get the benefit of the doubt here.
We get the short end of the stick here, to be specific.
Exactly. They would absolutely 110% make any shortcoming in on TV or any mistake would become glaringly the forefront of the show. And it would be, this is why the Lions haven't won a playoff game since 1993 or 1991, whatever it is. This is why the Lions haven't ever won a Super Bowl, haven't even been to a Super Bowl, haven't won a championship since 1957, have won one playoff game since 1957. This is why the Lions went 0-16. It would any singular mistake would just be shoved so forefront on Hard Knocks, on national TV, everybody would be ripping on this organization. I'm a little bit scared. I'd be a little bit scared and a little bit embarrassed for that to happen as a Lions fan. Would that change my opinion on my team? No, absolutely not. I still love my team through and through. I supported them when they were 0-16. I supported them when they were 10-6. I'm going to support them for the rest of my life until I find a reason to do otherwise. Mm-hmm. And if at 26 years old, if I haven't found one by now, I don't know that I'm ever going to, outside of some clearly unethical scenario happening.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with football. There are fans out there that would have left by now for football reasons. I'm not going to leave for a football reason unless they purposely tank it. That's purposely tank it long term. That's a different story.
Yeah.
If the owner were to basically, if Darth Vader were basically to go full on major league and purposely try to tank the entire organization long term. But this is still my team, no matter what. But I don't want to see my team get embarrassed for everybody to see.
I'll give you 100%. Now, I do want to bring up one thing. So, again, we do have 4 other teams, aside from the Lions, that are ineligible to opt out of Hard Knocks this year. We have the 49ers, Giants, Raiders, Redskins. Now, the question I want to pose here is, between these 5 teams, Lions included, which team do you think would be probably the best entertainment value on Hard Knocks? Now, these teams do have some flash. I mean, let me put it this way. In terms of flashy incoming rookies, I do think the Redskins had the advantage there with Dwayne Haskins and Montez Sweat.
I don't think Dwayne Haskins is all that flashy. I'm not going to lie to you.
He's
a little bit more reserved. He is one of the bigger quarterbacks. He's one of the bigger
quarterback rookies.
I don't think the Redskins organization would be. I don't think they'd be that entertaining. Just because there's not much to show there outside of the rookie quarterback. And the ownership being just absolutely one of the worst owners in all of professional sports. But
then you have the ever dysfunctional Raiders.
That one I would argue is actually very entertaining.
With 3 first-round rookies coming in, too.
You've got a second season of John Gruden.
And they just signed Rich Incognito.
Yes. You've got a second season of John Gruden. That could be issues. Yeah. But you've got a second season of John Gruden now. You've got the situation with the quarterback going on there. You've got Antonio Brown in your locker room now. That would be an entertaining scenario. That would be something that'd be fun to watch. Yeah. Plus, you're in your last season in Oakland. Mm-hmm. So you're going to Vegas next year.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of drama
see that, there's a lot of drama involving that. So to see that kind of unfold live in the flesh on HBO's Hard Knocks, it'd be pretty fun. Yeah. I think the Raiders would give us the most entertainment value. I'll be honest with you, the Niners sound boring.
Yeah, those are
the Giants without OBJ kind of sound boring. Now, granted, the whole Daniel Jones situation does bring some intrigue in there.
It's usually the biggest market team out of
It is. But if the team's boring, the team's boring. I mean, again, the Giants aren't as exciting without OBJ there. They don't have the personality anymore. The whole Daniel Jones thing. But see, the thing is Daniel Jones is basically an Eli Manning clone. Mm-hmm. So he's probably pretty boring and not very good at talking to the camera.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw that based on some of the videos or reports of his interviews talking to some of these teams in the combine. So the Giants, I'm going to scratch off as well. The only intrigue would be Daniel Jones, and he doesn't sound very fun to watch.
In general, like there's a lot of it sounds like there's probably a lot of dysfunction in that front office because of how I want to say consensually, how much of a consensus negative opinion there was with their draft this year about how they fumbled the draft.
Yeah, I mean, there would be some entertainment there.
And I feel like there's smoke, there's fire in that situation. So I feel like there's probably a lot of disagreement.
In terms of the front office dysfunction, yes, I'll agree with you. But the dysfunction that you see the most on Hard Knocks comes in watching the coaching staff, not necessarily the front office. Exactly. You don't see as much of them.
That's true.
So, but also, I would argue that the Giants are one of those teams that may get some of that benefit of the doubt and not have some of those issues glaringly put to the front, in front of the camera. But
so, who's your pick then?
Mine's the Raiders.
If it was one of the ineligible to opt out teams,
which I do think it will be. I don't think anybody's rushing to the podium to volunteer. So I think it's going to come down to one of these 5 teams. I would say the Raiders. John Gruden's personality, he's a big-time, big-headed personality in football, has been forever. Antonio Brown, a larger-than-life personality in football, with all the issues he had off the field this offseason in terms of social media and his former team and calling out his former quarterback and calling out Juju Smith-Schuster and all the issues they had on with that going on. Yeah. So that personality is going to be entertaining. You have the quarterback situation with Derek Carr and potentially his last season with the team. People thought he would get replaced this offseason. Yeah. He wasn't. So whether or not he's able to show any life in camp is kind of important. You have whether or not...
If Marshawn Lynch was still with the team, that would be even better.
Which he did say he may be willing to come back.
Like he retired and he was like...
So I'm going to ask you this. What do you... in odds 1 to 10, what do you think the odds are that Marshawn Lynch makes an appearance if the Raiders are the choice for Hard Knocks? What do you think the odds are, 1 through 10, 10 being very good odds, that Marshawn Lynch has an appearance on Hard Knocks this offseason?
You said 10 being very good odds, 1 being lowest. I'd probably give it a 2.
2? I would say right around a 3. Yeah. The fact that he did say he'd be willing to come back to play for the Raiders, considering they did have an injury at the running back position this offseason, that kind of intrigued me a little bit. Yeah. If he was there, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Especially with Antonio Brown there.
I feel like the most likely scenario is him just making like a guest appearance only to say hi to his old teammates, basically.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. But I do think the Raiders would be maybe most entertaining.
Josh Jacobs a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I do think the Raiders would be most entertaining. And that's what I would like to see just because it's the last year in Oakland. Kind of a swan song type of deal here. I think that would be best case scenario for HBO, for the NFL, for Oakland, the Raiders. I actually think it'd be a good thing for the Raiders. I think it would allow John Gruden a chance to save face a little bit and give a little bit of a sneak peek into the mindset behind the madness that he's had going on in Oakland. So I think it would give them, maybe it'll give some fans a little bit of a reason to not worry as much.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think the Raiders probably the best pick of the 5. I will throw in as my 2 and 3 the Giants and Redskins just because I do like seeing how quarterbacks acclimate to the NFL. So I do think there's a lot of intrigue just in that alone. Yeah. So moving on, we're going to shift the conversation. We're going to throw a wrench in this. If Hard Knocks,
if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
If Hard Knocks were to spin off if you can call it a spin off or expand maybe, and go to another league, aka the National Basketball Association, what's the first team?
So the NBA, right?
Yeah. What's the first team on that show?
I don't think there's really a question about that. I think there's one team that actually there's a couple teams you could really say, but I think there's one in particular that's had the spotlight shined all over it this offseason in terms of the dysfunction in the locker room, the dysfunction in the front office, and it's become a multiple ESPN long-form expose. It's the LA Lakers.
Yep.
With Magic's trail of dust and Rob Pelinka saying that KCP is like the book of Genesis when they were wandering aimlessly through the desert and bread came down from heaven.
And you already had the ratings magnet, LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. You add in Rich Paul sabotaging the whole team, basically. Jeannie Buss's situation with Magic and Rob Pelinka. I mean, you have total dysfunction. Get a
high-profile rookie with the 4th overall pick.
Right. You have total dysfunction in that front office right now. There's a lot to watch there. Yeah. Plus, you add in the fact that LeBron's there.
Yeah.
That's just like the cherry on top. And
I'd be more interested to see that than any NFL teams being proposed.
You had the circus, and you had the circus sideshow in Lonzo Ball and his dad. You have TV gold in LA right now.
Imagine how much gold that would be if the Lakers were the team that gave a draft promise to Darius Garland and Lonzo's now coming off the bench. That would just be pure gold with Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball.
I think they'd still start Lonzo. I think they should. I think call me crazy.
Just drafting a point guard number 4 alone would tick off.
Call me crazy. I don't think Darius Garland is the guy. I don't think the Lakers are the team that promised him. I think that was the Suns. In fact, I've read now 3 articles that say it was the Suns. Mm-hmm. I think they're better served going elsewhere with the position. I think DeAndre Hunter should be their guy. Mm-hmm. I think he fits better into the system. I think he fits better with the team needs. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Lonzo Ball truther. Mm-hmm. I like the kid's game. He's got to work on the J. He's got to hit some shots. He's got to work on the shot, hit some more shots. But he's a pest on defense. He's got great length. Doesn't have the greatest speed, but he's not a big time slasher. And he's creative with the basketball. Mm-hmm. I like Lonzo Ball. I think he's a good point guard. I think he'll be a solid point guard in this league for years to come. I'm a Lonzo Ball truther. I can't believe I just said that, but I am. I like the kid's game. But man, would that just be an absolute... It'd be TV gold. Mm-hmm. If the Lakers had an NBA's version of Hard Knocks in their locker room in the offseason, especially if they encompass the draft and everything, yes. Mm-hmm. I'd get HBO just for that. Just to watch that.
I think a close second... Well, actually not close. The Knicks. Second. Knicks. That's a dysfunctional...
One, it's New York.
Yeah. Dysfunctional front office as well.
And ownership.
And team now at this point. I mean, apparently you had Kristaps given, 7 days to trade him? So there's got to be something going ridiculous on with that team. So, yeah, I think the Knicks would be a really fun one. I also think just on the intrigue of the talent on the team, but how much they've underperformed, I'd actually find the Phoenix Suns an interesting team to look at. As well as how bad the ownership is.
Okay, I kind of agree with the Suns on the angle of I think you'd see a lot of scouting and talent development and aptitude there, kind of like you did with the Browns.
Yeah.
Just because, the argument against tanking for, the tanking truthers, as they call them, air quotes. Mm-hmm. The argument against tanking has largely, and the example for them has largely been the Phoenix Suns. Mm-hmm. And I am a huge believer in you can't blame the method. You can't blame top-down front office and scouting and aptitude as a reason for not tanking. You can't blame the team having no idea what the hell they're doing as a reason to give a reason that tanking doesn't work. You just can't. Any team that drafts Dragan Bender, Alex Len, instead of other guys that are stars now. Josh Jackson, I still think he's got a shot, but his offseason hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Any team that does that, you can't say that tanking doesn't work and base it off of just total screw-ups all across the board by the Phoenix Suns. You just can't. So, with that being said, with the young talent they do have there in DeAndre Ayton, in Josh Jackson, in Devin Booker, they do have some young talent there. Mm-hmm. It would be entertaining to watch it develop, to watch it continue, and see what happens in the offseason with the draft and everything like that. It would be an entertaining one. But I think just the circus sideshow acts in L.A. and New York would just be pure entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you add in, anytime you get an opportunity to mix, just absolute cluster in the front office with the quote-unquote king of the NBA in LeBron James and the Circus Sideshow and the Big Baller brand, which is now defunct, if I recall. That sounds like pure money to me. That sounds like pure money.
Now,
They should make a show specifically for that, right there.
Now, there's no way we could end this without talking about what a Pistons Hard Knocks would look like. What do you think would be the main story points if the Pistons were a team featured on an NBA version of Hard Knocks? I think, for one, you have to delve into Blake Griffin's stand-up career.
I think you have to just delve into Blake's life in Detroit in particular. Does he like it here? How's he like the city? How often is he even in the city in the offseason, if he's here at all?
He's touring doing stand-up.
Well, I know that, but does he like his teammates?
Go into Andre Drummond's rap career, maybe.
Oh, God, please don't. Nobody needs to see that. Figure out how he grooms his shoulder beard. No, I think it would be... I mean, I think it would have been more entertaining with Stan Van Gundy.
Oh, yeah.
Just because he's a better personality than
Dwayne Casey's a lot more reserved.
He is a lot more reserved. But I don't know that there's entirely that much entertainment value. I think having the Kardashian sideshow that used to be Kendall Jenner with Blake Griffin would have been some entertainment, but
that's what I'm saying.
That's no longer there.
Story points here if Hard Knocks was ever to be
It'd be Blake Griffin in particular. It'd be Andre Drummond and whether or not he fits in this league. It'd be Dwayne Casey and the way he builds the team and the way he sets his lineups and runs his practices. It'd be Tom Gores. I think that'd be a big one, and the method behind his madness.
Yes.
It'd be his relationship with the players, especially Andre Drummond.
I think an interesting one that people probably wouldn't see coming is a recurring thing with the friendship between Bruce Brown and Kyrie Thomas, or maybe like friendship between Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond.
Maybe,
because those are the two like big like locker room.
Yeah, I think another one that would be interesting to see is the influence of former dynasties of the Pistons, namely the Bad Boys and the Going to Work crew, and the influence on the current organization. And seeing and considering how much this organization continues to revisit those eras, I'll be honest with you, I've never seen an organization in all of sports revisit championship teams the way that the Pistons do. They've done it like 5 years in a row now. Like, my God, I know they did it last year, they did it the year before, they did it this season.
We have nothing else to showcase.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never seen an organization continue to talk about past and just praise past successes the way the Pistons do.
We're 2 more years of Gores away from lining up playoff banners, okay?
Oh, God, please, no. Don't you dare bring that into this. Don't you dare utter those words into this universe, because that is the ultimate sign of utter failure. That is the ultimate sign of pure garbage. As soon as you start hanging playoff banners, you can just shut the doors, lock them, and shut off the lights because there's no point in even going anymore.
Is there any team that does hang up playoff banners, by the way?
I hope to God not, because that's a joke. Jesus, that is quite. Oh God, please tell me they don't.
Don't they have some in the '91 playoffs?
Please tell me no. God, I hope
gotta go back
not.
to Ford Field. I haven't been there in a while. But
if that is honest to God, especially in the NBA, where you don't even need to be a 500 team to make the playoffs anymore, at least in our conference, that's the NBA version of a participation award, is hanging playoff banners. Here's your medal for making the playoffs. That's a joke. Here's your participation trophy. Tom Gores will wear those proudly. You'll see him walking around Quicken Loans, or not Quicken Loans, that's Dan Gilbert. But you'll see him walking around Little Caesars Arena with like 3 medals on his, or 2 medals on his chest for playoff appearances.
By the way, Rod Wood,
they'll look like YMCA medals.
Rod Wood threw the playoff banners down 2 years ago.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Someone has some semblance of what the hell it means to be a successful organization in this world. God, please tell me. Please don't tell me that they're actually talking about putting playoff banners up at LCA. Please.
No, I didn't say they're actually talking about that.
Okay,
So we're 2 Tom Gores years away from probably that.
Oh, my God. If that happened,
But
He'd be the, and you know what though? He'd be the guy that'd sell you on 3 straight playoff appearances. He'd be the guy that'd sell you on it.
Try to sell people on the potential 8 seed.
Yeah,
Like,
he'd be the guy that would sell you on multiple playoff appearances in a row,
but
and then hang his hat on it saying we're a successful organization.
I think one of their funny storyline, DJ Moneymaker, aka Thon Maker's nickname given him by a team in the locker room because he DJs all.
If he's even back, he's probably not even going to be back next year.
What's his contract? Is he?
I think he's a free agent. If he's not, he should be cut after his playoff performance. Yikes! He should be right now. Throwing a Bucks jersey back on. But
Nope, he's still in the contract.
is he? Yeah. Okay, whatever. I mean, yeah, for like a 5-minute segment, I don't really need to give that much into it. I think you'll see him be kind of a funny side personality.
Yeah. It's not gonna be a main thing. It's just
No.
gonna be some
I think
funny things they cut to.
I think the primary focus will be on the front office. It'll be on Tom Gorse's relationship with the players and the front office and the inner workings there, considering we have, no GM, and we have, what is Ed Stefanski's official title? Advisor to the front office or something like that? I don't even know what his official title is anymore. Do you?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't
Because I don't either. But
he's the acting GM.
Essentially, yes. He's the one making the decisions. But he doesn't have ultimate power because Tom Gorse will veto anything that involves Andre Drummond. But I do think for us, a Pistons version of a Hard Knocks would be fairly entertaining. I still would so much rather see the Lakers or the Knicks.
Yeah.
The Lakers would be... Honestly, the Sixers would be entertaining, too. With the young organization they have coming back from the depths of the tank, Joel Embiid's personality... Ben Simmons in JoJo's shadow, essentially, and whether or not he's even happy in that. I think that'd be an entertaining one. And I think, honestly, any organization, if there's an organization out there that manages to bring in 2 of the big free agents, whether it be Kyrie, KD, Boogie, insert other name, Jimmy Butler, insert name here, Kawhi. If there's an organization that can bring in a mixture of those guys... I think that'd be a great candidate for that to see how that starts to mesh and see that relationship. I think Houston would be a fun one to watch too, just because of James Harden, Chris Paul, Mike D'Antoni. There's a lot of them that could be pretty entertaining.
There'd be a lot of fun teams to watch.
I think the Pistons would be lower down on that list, to be honest.
100%. But yeah, I think we both agree that back to the NFL. I think we both agree Raiders are probably the best suited team. Oh, the 5-0.
The only thing haven't the Raiders already had it fairly recently though?
No, they haven't done Hard Knocks.
They've never had a Hard Knocks? I could have sworn they did.
Look it up real quick.
Could have sworn they had like the first or second one.
Nope.
Never had a Hard Knocks.
Never had a Hard Knocks.
Man, I could have sworn they did.
No, they're kind of overdue too. But real quick, I do want to end up with a tweet from Ja1225. He responded to Field Yates' tweet about the imminent announcement. He says, Hard Knocks, Raiders. Open to a scene of Richie Incognito bullying rookies while absent Antonio Brown records a personalized message for Jim, master of accounting, at home. Perfect busts into the locker room and assaults Incognito while Gruden quizzes QBs about Spider 2Y Banana. If that doesn't sell you...
I'd just like to see Antonio Brown just doing a workout. Yeah. Just seeing the mentality in terms of just the craziness. I just love to see the madman. So before we end this, forget those 5 teams that can't say no. Are there any teams in the league that you would like to see otherwise?
That's a good question.
Say I have one in particular. I would say
I haven't really given that much thought.
And it's the Jets.
Well,
because of their dysfunction and circus sideshow in their front office this offseason. I think they would be one that would be pretty entertaining.
And they got Le'Veon Bell.
And they have Le'Veon Bell, maybe, for now. I think that would definitely be a fun one to watch. Plus, they have a second-year quarterback now. I think the Rams would be pretty entertaining.
The Rams just on it like a couple years ago.
I know, but I think they would. I'm just saying, a team. But I'm saying, a team I would think would be entertaining. I'd say the Rams, just because you have an absolute mastermind in Sean McVay and watching the man do his job.
What about the Chiefs?
No.
With how Mahomes
They're such a boring team.
With how Mahomes, the Chiefs are boring.
On the field, they're amazing.
Yeah,
Off
that's what
the
I'm
field,
saying.
they're boring as hell.
Like the way Mahomes took the lead by storm, I feel like people just want more of him.
Not really. On the field, yeah. Off the field, no. Like I can only listen to Kermit the Frog talk so much before I had to turn him off.
Jesus, and you have the whole Tyreek Hill dilemma.
Yeah, you probably won't get a lot of that in Hard Knocks. I'll tell you that right now. If there's any off the field situations, the NFL probably doesn't want them talking
That's
about it, especially if it has
true.
to deal with violence.
That's probably true.
Another team I think would be really, 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 really entertaining to watch, although it'll never happen, at least during their tenure, is the Pats. Belichick and Brady.
That's always been entertaining to watch.
Yeah. But Belichick would never let that fly. See, that's the thing is that's what's nice about being what's nice about being the Patriots is they're always so good. They can just say no.
Yeah.
They can always just say no because they're always so good.
They have the leverage.
Yeah. They're never going to be, until Brady and Belichick leave, they're never going to be bad enough to be one of those teams that is not allowed to say no. So, but I do think that the Patriots would be thoroughly entertaining just because the Death Star that is the New England organization and the Darth Vader duo, the Darth Vader Kylo Ren duo and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I don't even know how else to describe it. They are the dark side. They are the absolute ultimate force of the NFL, and I think they would be so entertaining to watch just to see what they do and how they got to what they are. I think that would be just awesome TV. Watching utmost success, especially if this could be the last season. Kind of a swan song goodbye to Billy and Tom.
That would be a huge ratings draw too if that would happen.
Oh,
but it's not
absolutely.
going to happen.
Who wouldn't be watching that?
It's not going to happen. Can we get a Hard Knocks on just the NFL front office?
Just the NFL offices. Just put a camera in Roger Goodell's office to watch what he does while he's twiddling his thumbs all day. What does he do on a daily basis? Just out of curiosity, like, what do you think he does on a daily basis? Are there really daily operations that the commissioner of the NFL runs? Like what do you think he does daily?
Yeah.
I'm sure he has like stupid meaningless meetings that don't need to happen with
He definitely has fine
owner
meetings.
representatives.
Definitely has fine meetings determining who to fine and how much to fine.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of those each week.
I was in the off season, probably a lot of rules meetings.
Well, yeah, we know that, but I'm talking during the season.
After that, just traveling to one game a week, I guess. I don't know.
Making appearances, waving to people, taking the booze. Does honest to God, do you think that man wakes up in the morning, looks in the mirror, and boos himself just to like get himself ready for it? Just stares in the mirror, boo!
Sorry, headphone users. But no, he probably does a lot. Probably, like, in all honesty, he probably does a lot on the back end, like in the finance business.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Do you think there's ever a day? Do you think there's ever a day where he just throws his feet up on the desk and his hands behind his head and just says, "I'm good for the day.
Yes,
I did enough work."
Yes, he's the commissioner. He's
he probably does that a lot.
Anyway, unless you have anything else to add, that is
that pretty much covers it.
This week's episode, the Fan Report Hard Knocks edition.
When do we want to get into NBA draft prospect talk? Next week?
June.
Week after? June?
Yeah,
Thinking June?
sometime in June. We will.
So next week.
Because there's really only like 5 or 6 prospects you can really talk about with the Pistons. Like,
Right.
I kinda feel like we
They're
should,
kind of
do it all
stuck
in
there
one
at that
show.
15 pick,
yeah.
so... Well, they are stuck there at that 15 pick. They're not moving.
It's not like the NFL where we can do little by little each week. Like, it's kind of something to do like all in one, maybe 2 shows.
Okay, fair enough. So June.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that.
So basically, sometime in the next 3 shows.
Okay. All right, works for me. Anyways, though, thank you guys for listening once again. We will be back next week with another great, tons of fun. If you guys enjoyed it, give us a follow on Twitter at Real Fan Report, and also check out our live show that we, take more of a national broadcast spectrum with www.twitch.tv/The Fan Report. We thank you guys again for listening. We hope you guys had a good Memorial Day. Andrew, thank you for joining me, and we will catch you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one.
Peace, guys.